Welcome, Carm Capriato, the Service Aftermarkets podcast pioneer with the gold standard of aftermarket business podcasts. Join me for Aftermarket Insights as we advance the aftermarket. And as always, know that you'll learn just one thing. Find us on your favorite podcast listening app and remarkableresults.biz or on my YouTube channel. Hey everybody, Carm Capriato back in Amelia Island, Florida at the Institute Summit. Well, this is just early February. We're having a great time here. And I love to go to summits like this and conferences like this because I see all my great friends. We walk away with such great content, but we also get a chance to listen to some speakers that have nothing to do with our industry, but everything to do with our life. And I have that guest coming up here in a minute. Again, thanks to Cecil and Kent and the entire team at wearetheinstitute.com for having us here. We are having a blast. Now, just a couple of small words from our great sponsors. Hey, take your auto care center to the next level, the gold level, with the Napa Auto Care Gold Certified program. This program is for the best of the best who can provide a consistent consumer experience and earn the trust of returning and new customers. Talk to your Napa sales representative about how you can become a gold certified shop. Hey, for over 30 years, Napa Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the best, most comprehensive SMS in the industry. We'll prove to you that Trax is the single best shop management system in the business. Find Napa Trax on the web at napatracs.com. Also, thanks to AftermarketManagementNetwork.com for information that can help you move your business ahead, and for the free and informative LaborRateTracker.com. Hey, welcome back. I'd like to introduce you to Dan Clark. Hi, Dan.
How are you, Carm?
I am great, thank you. So I was doing an episode, and then I ran out. I wanted to catch the end of your speech, and I am pissed that I didn't hear the whole thing. And Dan is the global leader of Significant Movement, a New York Times bestseller. You've given speeches all over the world. You've supported so many great initiatives in our country as a speaker. And I got to tell you, I came in, I think, just in time for the cry. What I love, and I've listened to so many speakers throughout my lifetime, is to get so emotionally dragged into, and I don't mean drag in a bad way. You had that magnetism today, and it is so healthy for all the shop owners that are in the room to be motivated like that. Where else can they go except for conferences like this, the Institute Summit, and hear an individual like you? And I don't know where to start, but I was so moved by so many of the things. But what I really want to talk about is a big thing that I took away, Dan, is your why bigger than your why not? And that hit me because so many of us small, struggling business owners get in the way of that.
Absolutely. You know, it's so interesting when you bring up the significance of emotion. My father-in-law, he passed away of Alzheimer's, dementia. So I was curious, not only as a participant, a family loved one involved in that or facing that challenge, but I studied it enough to understand that when you talk to someone who's losing their memory, they lose their short-term memory, but they somehow maintain their long-term memory. And the science shows that the deeper the emotional experience during that event, the more it kicks in and logs into our long-term memory. So those stories that those loved ones can recall having Alzheimer's, it's interesting how they can't tell you your name. They don't recognize you. They can't tell you anything that happened on Tuesday, but they can relive with detail a battle in World War II or the day they fell in love with my grandmother or whatever the case may be. When it comes to sales, what we have to understand is that knowledge is power, but it has no heart. We don't learn to know, we learn to do. All the information in the world isn't going to make a person successful. It's like the guy who has 3 PhDs, one in philosophy, one in psychology, one in sociology. He doesn't have a job, but at least he can explain why. So bottom line, reason leads to conclusions, but it is emotion that leads to action. Let me repeat that. Reason leads to conclusions, but it is emotion that leads to action. And if I might just dovetail into the statistics that surround the noble profession of sales, which we're all engaged in, and it doesn't matter the industry, national statistics prove true that 44% of sales professionals quit after the first sales call, 24% quit after the second call, 14% quit after the third call, and 12% of sales professionals quit after the fourth or by the fourth sales call. That's 94% of our sales professionals who quit by the fourth sales call. Yet 85% of our sales are closed between the fifth and the 12th sales call. So we've got to figure out a way to make ourselves more compelling to talk to, more fascinating to be around, more educated and qualified to learn from, and get better stories to use as we sell, because people don't buy what we sell. They buy what we believe. They don't buy what we do. They buy why we do it.
Yeah.
And why we do it and what we believe is our story. And that's why I'm a storyteller.
Yeah, you are. Unbelievable stories.
Facts tell, stories sell. Nobody remembers what we say. They always remember how we make them feel.
How we make them feel. Are we afraid to show emotion?
I think that's the social stigma that we're in the process of disintegrating, especially as macho men like you.
Oh, yeah. You noticed, huh?
Oh, yeah. He's got this spray-on tan. He's this.
Oh, yeah.
I'd write a song about you, but I don't know what rhymes with stud muffin, hunk of burning love. You know, let's just go right there, baby.
Here, let me show you my fake abs. Come on.
I'm telling you, no, I like the hair that you've glued onto the top of your neck, too.
You do? Oh, yeah.
This is so impressive. But my whole point is...
Macho, never mind.
Yeah, let's go for it. YMCA, or when you're my age, AARP. So let's just talk about that social stigma for a minute. Yeah. As a professional speaker, I've spoken 6,000 stages, 76 countries. And now one of the key requests for a speech, for a theme, a topic for a speaker like myself is to come in and tactfully talk about mental health. I call it emotional prosperity. And they don't call it mental illness. That's a bad idea. But mental health and a state of emotional prosperity has to begin with us destroying the social stigma, especially for men. Be a big boy, don't cry. Cowboy up, build a bridge, get over it, get up and go again. That's significant. So let me throw in the champion's mindset. When you're an athlete, you enter that gym with the mindset to intentionally create discomfort on purpose. Mm-hmm. You go in and you want to put a little bit more weight on the bar today than you had on it yesterday. You want to spend one more minute on the pre-core or the elliptical than you had on the day before. It's a culture of resilience that we'll talk about. But in that mindset to create discomfort on purpose, what we have to understand is that if you're going to go for your max bench press, if you're going to put on more weight than you've ever put on, you have to ask for help. You have to ask for a spot. All the biggest muscular macho men in the gym have to ask for help. And when it comes to mental health, it's not a sign of weakness anymore to ask for help, to reach out, especially when you're confused or on the borderline of depression. It's okay to ask for help, and that's what we need to talk about. And again, back to storytelling. People don't remember what we say, they remember how we make them feel. Yeah. And I use two quotes today because we're talking to leaders and sales professionals. The purpose of a leader is to grow more leaders who believe what you believe, not generate more followers. And in the world of sales, the goal is not to do business with everybody who wants what you have. The goal is to do business only with those who believe what you believe, so they choose you, not just somebody who does what you do. So how do you get somebody to choose you? It's based on how you made them feel and them craving to have that feeling again, because they immediately attach you and your story and the experience, the customer experience they had with you. And now they want to walk past, drive past all the competition, craving that feeling that you shared together, reminding us that reason leads to conclusions, but it is emotion that leads to action. So the kicker in sales is based on one of my books, best-selling book called Story Selling. And it's how you master the 6 brain chemicals and choose the right story at the right time for the right reason to actually influence someone's decision-making based on the chemical that you trigger in that moment. And they're all different chemicals. They're all different feelings. And when you can make that person, invite that person, inspire that person to feel that specific emotion, they will buy, they will close themselves. They will be more philanthropic and double their donation at a gala. I've proven it time and time again for years and years, and that's what this book is about, the science, art and science of story selling.
Is it tough to learn?
No, it's easy.
My job is to convince someone through storytelling how to get a dopamine hit or a rush or something like that?
You got it. Absolutely. you can rise to the occasion. I don't know how many of you viewers are basketball fans, but there was a great documentary on Michael Jordan called The Last Dance. And there's a segment in there where they interviewed Charles Barkley. And in the first Dream Team in the 1992 Olympics, Michael Jordan, their coach, and Charles Barkley, they went out on a golf course. It was during the Dream Team kind of
segment era.
Yeah, where they were playing teams before they got to the Olympics anyway. They were in Puerto Rico to play Puerto Rico's team. And they played 18 holes of golf. And then coach and Charles Barkley said, let's go in. We got a game tonight. Michael Jordan says, no, I'm going to play another 18 holes of golf. And they're like, oh, really? You're going to be so exhausted, you're never going to be able to play at your highest level. After Michael Jordan played 36 holes of golf, he shows up to the locker room before the game and he asks the coach if he can guard their best player. And the coach said, no, he's not in your position. He says, I don't care. That guy badmouthed me in the media, and I'm going to teach him a lesson. I'm going to take him to the hoop. And sure enough, Michael Jordan held that guy to 6 points, and he was their prolific leading scorer, a superstar. He held him to 6 points. Michael Jordan finished the game with 42 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 steals. And how do you answer that? You say, oh, Michael's just the greatest. No. How did he get in the zone? The zone is about brain chemicals. You've got to feel it. 2024 men's Olympic basketball game. And we're behind in the semifinal game behind Serbia for 35 minutes and 12 seconds. They're ahead of us. And in the last 12 minutes of the game, we score 17 points to beat them at the buzzer. Steph Curry ends up with 36 points, 9 3-pointers, and the last 4 from ungodly distances away from the hoop. He swishes to single-handedly seal the deal and win the game. And everybody says, Steph Curry was in the zone. No, Michael Jordan and Steph Curry know how to trigger adrenaline, endorphin, and dopamine. They're the 3 addictive drugs. They only stay in our bodies between 30 minutes and 120 minutes. They figured out how to trigger that in their own mind. Michael Jordan, don't piss off Michael Jordan because he knows how to trigger adrenaline and say, oh, yeah, you watch me shut you down. And endorphin is triggered by, extraordinary exercise, pushing ourselves beyond our limit, digging deep for that second win. But it's also triggered through humor. That's why I tell a lot of jokes in my speeches. And dopamine is checking the box. I've done that, or I'm in the process of doing it. So Michael Jordan triggered all 3 of those brain chemicals in himself and triggered them in his teammates to rise to the occasion and defeat Puerto Rico and then go on to win the gold medal as a Dream Team. Steph Curry, because of his performance, he ignited in himself and in his teammates. It's not just, wow, he found the zone. Wow, he's feeling it. Wow, he's the greatest shooter who ever lived. No, it's brain science. And he triggered in himself adrenaline to rise to the occasion, dopamine, endorphin. And then in that process, he also triggered it in his teammates. Now, here's the cool thing, my friend. At the end of the game, those of us who witnessed that and watched it, not only did we feel adrenaline, endorphin, and dopamine, and they're highly addictive, so we couldn't turn off the TV. We want that feeling again and again. That's why we become season ticket holders for the Lakers and the Warriors. But what happened is at the end of the game, when they're hugging and there's tears, and we're cheering, and you can hear USA, USA, that triggers serotonin, the recognition drug, and oxytocin, the love drug, because they were congratulating one another as true brothers, proud to be American, standing on that podium and waving our American flag because of the brave. And those of us who were watching it also felt serotonin and oxytocin. So the science behind storytelling, especially on a podcast, it does not matter where we're talking. When we can tell the right story at the right time for the right reason, we can trigger those brain chemicals even online. And it's the most amazing and deepest way, most effective and long-lasting way to communicate.
The Napa Now event is a national ownership workshop for our valued AutoCare members centered around business building training from industry leaders. Now, it's not just about owning a shop, it's about owning your future. Join Napa April 15th through the 17th, 2025 at the Venetian Resort in the heart of Las Vegas, known for its vibrancy, energy, and entrepreneurial spirit. At the event, ignite growth through business building masterclasses from leaders across multiple industries focused on expanding business opportunities. Now, masterclass topics include future-proofing your business, mastering emerging technologies for growth, leadership dynamics, inspiring, engaging, and driving success, shifting tides, understanding evolving consumer behaviors and your bottom line, and young leaders' lasting legacies, mastering succession planning for future growth. Foster collaboration with other like-minded Napa AutoCare members and store owners. Stop at Supplier Studios for training, visit AutoCare vendor partners, and finally, join us in celebrating 100 years of Napa Auto Parts, along with kicking off the next 100 years of partnership. There will also be exclusive giveaways. There are many incentive opportunities to offset the cost of this trip, including AutoCare program earnbacks, and beginning in October, earn up to $1,500 with pre-show supplier training to prepare for the Supplier Studio training sessions. The Napa Now event is a national ownership workshop for our valued AutoCare members, centered around business building training from industry leaders. Now, it's not just about owning a shop, it's about owning your future. Join Napa April 15th through the 17th, 2025 at the Venetian Resort in the heart of Las Vegas, known for its vibrancy, energy, and entrepreneurial spirit. Get ready to grow, connect, and celebrate. This is an exclusive event limited to the first 2,000 AutoCare members. Packages are going fast. If you're interested in attending, contact your servicing Napa store or Napa salesperson. Hey, let's face it, your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. Napa Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the industry's best, most comprehensive SMS. Now, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you need to run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice, and having local representation is a huge plus. Customizing Trax to your business, whether you're a one-person shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company, a representative consults with you to help optimize your shop's workflow, efficiency, and profitability. Trax always has the flexibility to do business how you need to do it, which means it can also grow as your business grows. And unlike the other guys, will be there for you after installation with the best training and support in the business. Yes, a learning management system tailored to each role in your company. Simply put, Trax was designed and built for shop owners just like you. Visit us on the web at NapaTrax, that's NapaTracs.com. Hey, ever wonder how your labor rate compares to your market and state? You now have a site where you can confidentially upload your rate and see other labor rates published in your market. LaborRateTracker.com is an important site to know about. Currently, the database has over 1,000 shops participating and growing every day. But there's more to setting your rates than finding out what others charge. You should look at the labor rates in your state and town to gain a complete picture of the labor rate landscape. Hey, it's easy. Get market intelligence like never before at LaborRateTracker.com. I love telling stories and having guests on that talk about their overcoming struggle is one of the greatest stories in the world. And you had in that meeting room today, I'm going to guess 60 to 70% of people that were in a bad zone early on in their careers and in their life. Now they're here listening to a person like you, Dan. For them, it comes together. It's starting to click that they made personal moves themselves, not realizing it could have been dopamine, endorphins, all of that stuff that when you were talking about this whole emotional thing with us guys, I had some interesting heart stuff that happened about 12 years ago. And after it, and my life was saved, I got so emotional. I cried at chick flicks. And of course, I thought that it would not be a great trait to have. But like you, when I tell some old stories about stuff, never before, but of late, I get very emotional.
Yeah.
Very emotional.
That's a sign of authenticity. Do you realize, I was involved with Chicken Soup from day one, and the movie and the book, The Secret, came out, and Bob
really?
Proctor, one of my heroes' friend, he's the one that kind of illuminated the law of attraction, and he mystified it so much. A lot of people kind of tuned it out, or they thought I can just manifest this into the universe and it's going to happen. That's a bunch of crap.
Right.
Bottom line, we don't attract who we want. We attract who we are. We attract what we believe we deserve in income, in a soulmate, in an intimate or professional relationship. It doesn't matter. As leaders, as parents, we teach what we know, but we reproduce who we are. And so it's important for us to get our act together and figure out what we believe and why we believe it. And once we do that, everything happens according to our desire, according to what motivates us, as you said before, when we realize our why. and our why is bigger than our why not, we don't have to be motivated ever again. We just do it because we know we should. And so what happens, let me just finish this little deal, because the science proves true. We can ask and debate this all day long. What attracts us to one another? What's the first thing that attracts us to one another? If I'm single and there's a woman who's single walking towards me, if my energy and vibration is a positive towards women, and her energy is positive and vibration is positive towards men, I guarantee we're going to get eye contact, which triggers oxytocin, the love drug. It triggers the recognition drug serotonin. It's a double take, and there's a chemical exchange where we say, wow, how you doing? Or nice smile, or, what's going on, whatever. But if I'm in a negative energy and vibration and she's in a positive vibration and energy, there's no reason to get eye contact. There's no heart to heart. There's no connection.
It's an aura?
It's a real vibration. It's a real frequency that
we send. Yeah.
We send. But here's the kicker. Everybody debates what's the number one thing that attracts people to one another. Is it the smile? Is it the eye contact? Is it this energy vibration? It's authenticity.
Wow.
And so when you share emotion, when you tell stories, Carm, instead of fighting the feeling, people who cry and they say, oh, I'm so sorry, I apologize, I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't apologize. That's authenticity. We've got to connect at that point. So let me just share briefly how I became a student of this stuff. I played football for 13 years. And one day in practice, the dream ended. The coach blew the whistle. Another player and I ran full speed into each other in a violent head-on collision, smashing my shoulder into the cutting edge of my right deltoid, or the right fiberglass pads. I slammed to the ground. I compressed my 7 cervical vertebrae. I severed the axillary nerve of my right deltoid muscle, and I suffered a grade level 2 concussion, which is one of the worst kinds. My eye drooped. I had loss of speech. I couldn't talk anymore. My right side was paralyzed. My arm dangled helpless at my side. Fast forward, I was paralyzed for 14 months. I went to 16 doctors, 15 of whom told me I would never get better. I would never recover. I don't know how many of your listeners have ever heard that. What happens if you believe it? You never get better. And my life spiraled downward until I hit what I thought was rock bottom. Now that I fought my way back to a 95% recovery, the 3 most frequently asked questions are these that would be of interest to your listeners, to your viewers. Number 1, Clark, what do you mean you thought you hit rock bottom? Ladies and gentlemen, no matter how hard life gets, no matter how tough things get, nobody ever hits rock bottom. We hit rock foundation. We hit rock belief. We hit the baseline core values on which we were raised. And if you think your organization, if you think your auto shop, if you think your business hit rock bottom, hit a bump so bad during COVID that it hit rock bottom, wrong. It did not hit rock bottom. It hit rock foundation. It hit the baseline governing principles on which it was built.
Wow. You're standing on a foundation, and you have to choose now.
And as I mentioned to GPG yesterday, 85% of family-owned businesses go bankrupt by the 3rd generation. Yeah. Why is that? Because this new generation refuses to subscribe to the same core values, governing principles that grandpa and grandma used to start the business, to scale the business, and to grow the business. And so suddenly this new generation has a silver spoon in their mouth. They think it's entitlement when it's really opportunity. And if they would just subscribe to the core values that never change, regardless of the industry, regardless of the generation, work ethic, sacrifice, service before self. Yeah. What can I do for you to make sure you lead me saying, I like me best when I'm with you. I want to see you again. I like me best when I'm with you. I want to see you again. That basically takes the retention of your best people, takes into consideration everything, and you will not let your company go down the tube simply because of a lack of understanding. Second most frequently asked question is, Clark, why did I keep going to so many different doctors? Bottom line, I kept going from doctor to doctor until I found one who believed I would get better. Belief is so powerful. And the third most frequently asked question that answers the discussion, that adds value to what we're talking about. Hey, Clark, what took you so long to recover? What took you so long to get better? And the answer is I stayed paralyzed for 14 months because I was asking the wrong questions. I was asking the doctors how to get better when I should have been asking myself why. And once we answer why, figuring out the how-to becomes clear and simple. Not easy. The hard is what makes it great. But so you don't think this is just a rah, get up and go again, Clark. You can if you think you can. Methodology for my recovery. No, it was based in science. It's based in physiology. Because what we know is that when we only focus on the how and the what, we only engage the head. We only engage the brain. It makes us transactional. Here's what we need you to do, and here's how to do it. And then you walk away, and reason leads to conclusions, but it's emotion that leads to action. So there's no inspiration. They're like, really? I'll just take my time. Really? I don't want to do this. I'm not going into work today. I'm blah, 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 blah. But what we now know is if you only focus on the what and the how, it only engages the head, the brain. But when you add to that a passionate why and a compelling want, a real goal that's meaningful to you, it connects the head with the heart. And physiologically proven, our blood pumps more rapidly, our brains fire, and our muscles magnify, which maximizes our performance. And that's why you see someone hustle. That's why you see someone dig deep for their second wind to rise to the occasion. That's why you see famous stories about these strong women, but not superstar, superhero women whose kid is trapped in a car and they have some superhuman strength to lift the door open when it's stuck shut or lift the car off of one of their loved ones. And afterwards they're like, I don't know how I did that. I don't know. I do. Your why was bigger than your why not. And you triggered adrenaline, which forces your blood into the parts of your body where you need it. If you're jogging down a country path with your guest right before me who's from Alaska, and you come face to face with a grizzly bear, the gift of fear is real. Because all of a sudden that adrenaline pumps in, that kicks in, that endorphin kicks in, and physiologically our body automatically responds and shuts down every part of our body that does not need the blood, like our stomachs, to digest our food. And all of that intensive blood force with the new oxygenated blood goes into our muscles, and we run faster than we've ever run before. We run farther to get away from the bear than we've ever run before. Our bodies are miracles, and we just need to understand as sales professionals, as leaders, as parents, as coaches, that we can also access those exact same brain chemicals and tell the right story at the right time for the right reason to evoke emotion. And therefore, all of a sudden, they change their decision-making and they close themselves on the deal. No one likes to be sold, but everybody likes to buy. I hope this is making sense.
It is, Dan. Your why was, I'm not done yet.
Exactly. Exactly.
I figured that one out.
Yeah.
I got to find somebody who's willing to believe in my why. And if they did, obviously they did, and people helped you overcome this. Wow. What a tragic accident. I mean, it's...
Yeah, but I wouldn't have met you today if I hadn't been paralyzed. Let's just connect the dots.
All right.
This means a lot to me.
Yeah, me too. Wow. I'm highly moved over all of this. So one of the things you did say was about we win with the right brain. I know I'm a right brainer.
Oh, yeah.
I have some left, but I'm a right brainer, which makes me maybe an I. Maybe the left brainers are the S's and the C's, in high disc.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I love that. We win with the right brain. Explain.
Well, the story I used, I flew a fighter jet. I've flown all the fighter jets, bombers in the United States Air Force and Navy. And my first fighter jet experience was with an F-18 out of Patuxent River, Maryland. It was an awesome experience. And when we landed, I asked the pilot, how did we fly this magnificent high-tech machine? And he said, by feel. I said, what do you mean? He said, you become the plane. I said, what do you mean? He said, when you climbed up the ladder and slid into the cockpit, did you strap into the F-18 or did you strap the F-18 onto you? So my point is, the cockpit is crammed full of gauges and gadgets, highest technology available to the human mind. And yet you fly the jet with the right brain, not the left brain, cognitive, psychobabbling, neurotechnical, educational side. You go with passion, creativity, imagination.
It's feel.
Feel the jet, strap it on, strap life onto you, and trigger your passion, creativity, and imagination in every conversation.
Ow.
Michael Jordan made up stories to actually trigger adrenaline and dopamine, and especially adrenaline, but dopamine and endorphin. Adrenaline is the urgency drug. Endorphin is the motivation drug, and dopamine is the performance drug. Serotonin is the recognition drug, and oxytocin is the love drug. And when you can master those, maybe people can contact me at danclark.com. Check out my book, Story Selling. I didn't come on here to sell any books.
No, I know that. I got to buy that.
It's such fascinating science to me that you can actually have a conversation, especially in a podcast, when someone asks you a question and you can say, let me answer that with a story. And now people remember our stories because they connect with how we make them feel.
I love it. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this episode. Tell a story. You're there to serve and help customers overcome a problem or to maintain a very important vehicle of theirs, which is freedom in their life that gets them to work. No one wants to be in front of a service advisor at our counter when they have a problem with their vehicles. The last place in the world they would love to be. But telling a story in between doing the work to get an estimate to check them in, I think requires an individual that has probably a lot of self-awareness and could be a game changer. I just said an and I hate to say ums because I'm thinking as I'm speaking. Yeah, this is fascinating. We got to do more on this. I'm so interested. I got to read your book and then we got to do some more.
I fly out. We can do the Zoom podcast anytime you want.
Thank you so much.
Where do you live?
Buffalo.
No kidding. I'm a huge Bills fan. Yeah, Dalton Kincaid's my guy from the University of Utah.
All right. Okay.
Huge fan of Josh Allen. Let's talk, baby. I've been to Buffalo many times.
So here, we've been out for the Bills lost. Then we got on a plane and we've been in.
They didn't lose. Time ran out, but they didn't lose.
I know that. You're right.
Remember that.
You're absolutely right.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah. So we have been everywhere. And I'm sorry to my great friends in Kansas City, but we have found so many Bills fans and Eagles fans while we've been out.
I was the MC at the retirement dinner banquet for who's your all-pro defensive lineman? Why can't I think of it?
Bruce Smith.
Thank you, Bruce Smith.
Yeah.
Coach Levy was there.
Yeah.
Cornelius Bennett, Thomas, they were all there. I'm
wow.
such a fan of Jim Kelly. I have my own Make-A-Wish Foundation story with Jim Kelly.
I got a ball signed by him. Okay, good.
What a dude. Anyway, let's do this again. And maybe I conclude with one of my iconic stories from Chicken Soup for the Soul. Puts everything to perspective, because my message today with all of these amazing mechanics was you're not fixing cars.
Yeah.
You know, you just happen to use that as your vehicle to touch people's lives, to communicate, to talk about fixing their lives. And when I played football and I got hurt, I had to realize that football is just what I did. It's not who I am as a man. And when we identify ourselves in terms of what we do instead of who we are, we become human doings instead of human beings. Unacceptable success is what we seek. So going full circle, if we want to get somebody to choose us, not somebody who does what we do, we've got to reach out and connect at that heart-to-heart level and connect the head with the heart. And the best story to talk about this support, this unconditional support that I'm here for you no matter what, is one of my favorite stories to share. Maybe the perfect way to conclude this episode.
Yeah, maybe. Dan Clark, thank you so much for being here.
I want to tell the story. Don't cut me off yet. You're like my junior prom day saying, take me home. This is not going well.
Oh, I thought you were done.
No, come on, baby.
Let's go.
After I paid that much money for a meal, I need at least a kiss goodnight. Come on. Come on, dude. Don't cut me off. What do you mean you want to go home? A mother encourages her daughter to come home as soon as school is over. The time comes, the time goes. 30 minutes later, daughter walks in through the front door of her home and her mother scolds her. Where have you been? I've been worried sick. She says, oh, mommy. I walked my friend Sally home. She dropped her doll on the sidewalk. It broke all to pieces. It was awful. Her mother said, so you're late because you stayed to help your friend pick up the pieces of the doll and put it back together again? She said, oh, no, mommy. I didn't know how to fix the doll. I just stayed to help her cry.
Powerful. Dan Clark, The Art of Significance. Thank you for being here.
Thanks. I look forward to another powwow.
Thank you, man.